Good morning to each and everyone. This is Sir Barbosa for your grade 7 English. Now, our topic for this week is, of course, the direct and reported speech. Of course, may I remind each and every one of you who are not yet or who haven't completed yet their outputs for the first up to the fourth week and including this one also, the fifth week, the week 5. May I remind those persons to please complete your outputs, okay? So before we continue with direct and reported speech, let us first have our prayer. Please bow your heads and feel the presence of our Lord.
Please bow your heads and let us pray. Dear Jesus, please show me how to spend this day sharing your love in every way. Help me to be kind to everyone, to play and laugh and have lots of fun, shining your light and giving your grace, sharing your joy with a smile on my face. Angel of God, my guardian dear, to whom God's love commits me here. Ever this day be at my side, to light and guard, to rule and guide. Amen.
Okay, to that. Okay, some reminders, of course, be in your comfortable place. Okay. For the learning competency of this topic, of course, you're going to use direct and reported speech appropriately in varied contexts. For the objective, of course, is that you may be able to, or you will be able to identify the difference between direct and reported speech. Also, you are going to use direct and reported speech appropriately. Okay, now I would like you to open your modules on page 21. Okay, here you can find your learning task number 1 as to the direction. Read and analyze the group of statements below. Write down your observations on a short bond paper. Okay. Read and analyze the group of statements below. Write down your observations. Okay, so the answers for learning task number 1 will be your observations. Okay, so we have here an example of direct speech and reported speech. This is for the learning task number 1. Okay, now what do you observe on these examples? Say, for example, for the direct speech. So we have here, for example, Joanne said, comma, and then open quotation mark, I will finish my assignments. Period. Close quotation mark. However, when it comes to the reported speech, it goes like this. John said that she would finish her assignments. Period. So what have you noticed between the direct speech and the reported speech? All of your observations, you will write it down on on a piece of paper, okay? Not on a short bond paper, okay? We're not using short bond paper, so that's typo error. So we're going to use one whole piece of intermediate pad, okay? Write down all of your observations for this sentences, and this will be your answer for the learning task number 1. Now, moving on, for the learning task number 2, tell whether each of the following statement is a direct or reported speech. Write your answers on one whole piece of intermediate paper. Okay? So what will be the answer? direct or reported speech. Okay. So we have here 1 to 4, and then 5 to 7, and then 8 to 10. So all in all, that is 10 items. You just need to identify whether if it is a direct speech or a reported speech. Okay? Now, after doing learning task numbers 1 and 2, you need to open your modules on pages 21 to 23, and let us start discussing what is a direct speech. Okay. Now, in direct speech, the message of the speaker is conveyed or reported in his own actual words without any change. Again, without any change. So, say for example, we have two people. We have two people like Paul and John. Okay, Paul said uh, that he is hungry. Okay, now John would report it as Paul said, open quotation mark. Paul said, open quotation mark, I am hungry. Period. Close quotation mark. Just like that. Okay. Also known as quoted speech. Why quoted? Because the exact message of the speaker is enclosed by a quotation mark or quotation marks. Open quotation mark and close quotation mark. Right. For the example we have here, the boy said, comma, open quotation mark, I ate pancakes, period, close quotation mark. Now, you may notice that there is a comma before the word said. Okay, in most cases there will be. Okay, for just like example number 2, the mother ordered, comma, clean the house. Okay, enclosed inside the quotation mark is the phrase clean the house. Okay. Now for number 3, is everything clear? And then question mark, asked John. Of course, the phrase is everything clear is still enclosed between open quotation mark and close quotation mark. So these are examples of our reported speech. Okay. Next, commonly it has a reporting clause, a reporting verb, reporting clause, and reported verbs. Okay. Reporting clause, reporting verb, reported clause, reported verb. Let us try to identify what are these. Okay, using this example. Okay, for the reporting clause, we have the boy said. Okay, that will be your reporting clause. The boy said, and then comma. I ate pancakes. Your reporting verb inside that reporting clause is the word said. Okay. And then next is the reported clause. So what is your reported clause? Your reported clause shall be what is inside the open and close quotation mark, which is I ate pancakes. So that would be your reporting or reported clause. Now, what shall be your reported verb? Your reported verb shall be the word ate. Okay? Just remember, class, that your reporting clause inside it is your reporting verb. In your reported clause, inside it is your reported verb. Okay? I hope I am clear with that. Next, we have here the reported speech. So, a reported speech is also known as an indirect speech. Okay. A reported or a report on what someone else said or wrote without using that person's exact word. Okay. In uh, in reported speech, okay, you don't need to use what the person's exact word. You don't have to use the exact words of him or her. Okay. Unlike direct speech, it does not have quotation marks. So it will be easier for you to identify if it is a reported speech or an indirect speech because it doesn't have a quotation mark, right? Unlike direct speech, okay, direct speech contains quotation mark. Now, for the example of our indirect or reported speech, we have number one, the boy said that he had eaten pancakes. So, there is no use of quotation mark. And it was reported without the precision of exact words of the original speaker or author. Okay, number two, the mother ordered to clean the house. Okay, no quotation mark. Number three, Jan asked if everything was clear. Right? Now, the basic rules in changing direct speech to reported speech. Again, direct speech to reported speech. What are these rules? So, number one, changes in person of pronouns. First person pronoun in reported clause are always changed according to the subject of the reporting clause. Again, first person pronouns in reported clause are always changed according to the subject of the reporting clause. So let us take this example. For the direct speech, we have Anna said, comma, open quotation mark, I am happy, period, close quotation mark. Now, what is your first person pronoun here? Okay, your first person pronoun is, of course, the word I. Okay, the word I. In the phrase or in the sentence, I am happy. Okay, so it says that first person pronoun in reported clause are always changed according to the subject of the reporting clause. Okay? So Anna said that we are going to uh, supply the needed pronoun coming from the first person pronoun. From the word I going to the word she. Why she? Because Anna is a girl. Okay? Next. The second person pronouns in reported clause are always changed according to the object of the reporting clause. Again, second person pronouns in reported clause are always changed according to the object of the reporting clause. For example, we have the word, we have the sentence, Joy said to Paul, comma, open quotation mark, you passed the exam, period, close quotation mark. Now, take a look at the indirect speech. It goes like this. Joy told Paul that he had passed the exam. So, what was changed? Okay, of course, the use of comma, the use of quotation mark. What else? From the word said in the direct speech, in indirect speech, it becomes told. Okay? Joy said to Paul, direct speech. Indirect speech, Joy told Paul, right? From the word said to told. Okay? Next, third person pronouns in reported clause are not changed. So for example, direct speech, Joanna said, comma, open quotation mark, she looks sad, period. Close quotation mark. For the indirect speech, we have Joanna said, she looked sad. Okay. So there is no change in terms of the third person pronoun. And what is your third person pronoun? The obvious word she. All right. Joanna said, she looks sad for the direct speech. For the indirect, Joanna said, she looked sad for the indirect speech. Okay. There is no change in person of pronouns in the third person pronouns in reported clause. Okay, it is not changed. Okay, changes in verb if the reporting clause is in the present tense or future tense, then no change is required to be made in the verb of reported clause. This verb could be in any tense. For example, we have the sentence, he says, comma, open quotation mark, I am going to the library, period, close quotation mark. For the indirect speech, we have, he says, without comma, that he is going to the library. Okay, so what is your verb here? Of course, your verb is the word says, right? There is no change required to be made in the verb of reported clause. The word says remains the same in terms of tense uh, in both speeches, in both direct and indirect speech. Okay? If the reporting verb is in past tense, then reported verb will be changed depending on its tense. For example, for the direct speech, we have sentence in present simple. The man said, comma, open quotation mark, I joined the club, period, close quotation mark. In the reported or indirect speech, it becomes past simple. Okay? The verb joined. Okay? The man said that he joined with ed the club. Okay? From present simple going to past simple. Next is present progressive. She said, comma, open quotation mark, that again, for the present progressive tense of the verb, she said, the cat is sleeping. Okay, with the use of quotation marks. For the past progressive, she said that the cat was sleeping. Okay, that's typo error. There shall be no quotation mark in the reported or indirect speech. Okay. So as you can see, the phrase is sleeping in present progressive tense of the verb becomes past progressive was sleeping if you will be converting direct speech into reported speech. Okay? If it is in present progressive, if your direct speech is in present progressive, then you shall change it into a reported or indirect speech using the past progressive form, past progressive tense of the verb. That's why it becomes was sleeping. Okay? Another, so we have here for the direct speech, present perfect. They said, comma, open quotation mark, we have prepared snacks, period, close quotation mark. For the past perfect, take a look at the change here. They said that they had prepared snacks. So, from the word have prepared, it becomes had prepared. Okay, that is true if your direct speech is in the present perfect and you want it to be a reported speech or you want to change it to the reported speech. In that case, your tense of your verb shall be from present going to past perfect. Okay? Next, for the past simple, my friend announced, comma, open quotation mark, the meeting started, period, close quotation mark. That is for the past simple, direct speech. If you want to, or if you need to change your direct speech going to reported speech, then your past simple shall be past perfect. Okay? It goes like this. My friend announced that the meeting had started. Okay? So, from the word started to had started. Past simple direct speech, if you're going to report it, or if you're going to make it or change it into indirect speech, then it shall be going to past perfect. From past simple to past perfect. Right? Next, for the past progressive, we have here, Shane said, comma, close quotation mark, the children were laughing at my cleverness. Okay? Take note of the word were laughing because in the reported speech, your past progressive will be past perfect progressive. And how is that going to happen? Okay, with this, Shane said that the children had been laughing at her cleverness. So the word were laughing in past progressive becomes had been laughing in past perfect progressive form of the verb. Okay? So next we have the past perfect. For the direct speech example, the boy said I had studied abroad. Okay? For the past perfect, the boy said that he had studied abroad. Okay? From the word had studied to past perfect had studied. There will be no change. Okay? If you are going to change a direct speech, which is in past perfect, going to reported speech, there will be no change in terms of their tense of the verb. Okay? That is why from the word had studied going to had studied, from the past perfect going to past perfect, still the same. Okay? Now change in modal verbs. So what is posted on your screens are the modals will, shall, would, should, can and could, may and might, must and must, or had to. Okay, for the will or shall, let us try to read. Brian said, comma, open quotation mark, I will try to finish my report, period, close quotation mark. If you're going to change this sentence, which is on the state of direct speech, into indirect speech or reported speech, that word will become would. Okay? And your word shall will become should. Okay? For the word can, it becomes could. Okay? From your direct speech of I can pick you up, going to indirect speech of he could pick me up. From the word can to could. Okay. Next, may. Troy said, comma, open quotation mark, I may invite them to the party, period, close quotation mark. Take a look at the word may. It becomes might if you are going to transfer this direct speech going to indirect speech or reported speech. It goes like this. Troy said that he might invite them to the party. Right? So your modal may in the direct speech becomes might when you are writing it or changing it to indirect speech or reported speech. Lastly, we have the word must. Your word must shall remain must, or in some cases, it shall be changed to the word or the phrase or the modal had to. Okay? Jane said, comma, open quotation mark, I must stop smoking, period, close quotation mark. Now, for if you're going to transfer it or to change it into indirect speech, it becomes like this. Jane said that Jane said that she must or had to stop smoking. Right? So that's how it goes into the change in the modal verbs. Okay? So other significant word changes. Okay, from the direct speech. So we have now or yesterday. And then in the reported speech, it becomes then and the day before. Here becomes there. Tonight becomes that night. Today becomes that day. This becomes that. Tomorrow becomes the next day. And then this becomes those. If you are going to write or to change the direct speech into indirect speech. Okay. Number 4, conversion of interrogative and imperative speech or direct speech. So the reporting verb said or said to is changed to ask, demanded, or inquired. Okay? For yes or no questions, if or whether is used in place of that. For example, Joseph said to Joanna, will you attend the flag ceremony for your direct speech? For your indirect speech, Joseph asked Jana if she would attend the flag ceremony. Okay? So let us go back to the rule. For yes or no questions, if or whether is used in place of that. Okay? So, instead of using the word that, okay, in the direct speech, it uses if she would attend the flag ceremony. Okay? For imperative command, for imperative or command, the reporting verb said or said to is changed to ordered or commanded. Okay, for example, for direct speech, the librarian said to me, keep quiet. For the indirect speech, the librarian ordered me to keep quiet. Okay? From the word said in your direct speech, it becomes ordered in your indirect speech. For imperative request, the reporting verb said to is changed to requested, of course. So direct speech, he told me, please call me. For the indirect speech, he requested me to call him. Okay, from the word told going to requested because that's imperative or request. Note, the use of word that is optional in reported speech. So whether you use that or not in reported speech, it will not affect your sentence. For example, the student said that he had gained weight. If you're going to remove the word that, the student said he had gained weight. Okay? There is no major change in terms of your sentence. Still the same. Okay, now I would like you to open your modules on page 24, and you're going to answer learning task number 3. Again, we will be using one whole intermediate pad paper, no short band paper. Okay? For the directions, study the images below. Fill the speech bubbles with what you think he or she could be saying. Write your answers on, again, one whole piece of paper, intermediate paper. Okay. What do you think are these people saying? Okay, try to answer it and how. Fill the speech bubbles with what you think he or she could be saying. Okay. For the first one, we have this picture and then a picture of a someone who is in beauty pageant, and then for the third image, we have a person who is probably reporting uh, for the weather forecast, right? For the next one, we have your page 25, learning task number 5, change the following direct speech to reported speech. Write your answers on, again, one whole piece of intermediate pad paper. Okay? So we have 1 to 5 on the first slide. And then your reflection. Complete the following phrase or phrases. I understand that. And then, number 2, I realize that. Okay, still on your one whole piece of paper. And that's it for today. Thank you to all of my students. And then again, I am reminding you to please complete all of your uh, papers or outputs to me as early as possible before the end of the first grading period. We are now on the week 5, and therefore your outputs shall be also 5. Okay, for week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and including this topic, week 5. Okay, please complete all of your outputs to me as early as possible. With that, I thank you for listening to me, and may I remind you to stay at home and be a good children of your parents. Okay? Thank you.